What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the latest episode of The Layup.Line. My name is Dolos, and it has been a while since my last video, but with the season looming, you can start to expect more activity on this page. Today, I am here to discuss my award predictions for the NBA 2022-23 season. I'm going to be jumping right into it, starting with one of the easier picks, and that's going to be my Rookie of the Year prediction, as I believe Paolo Banchero will be leading the pack with the impressive and round numbers required for getting this award. He's going to have a high usage in Orlando, and regardless of their team's success, I see the opportunity for 16 to 20 points, 3 to 5 assists, and 5 to 7 rebounds. That scoring alone is usually enough to make the case for this award, but pair that with Paolo's ability to make teammates better and the incredible hype that's following this #1 overall pick, and I think he has a strong case for favorite to take home the award at the end of the season. We recently lost another contender for this award in Oklahoma City's Chet Holmgren, hoping for a speedy and full recovery for him. It's a little harder for me to think of other first-year players who will be in contention for this, simply because there may not be anyone else in the class that's in a prominent lead role the way that Paolo's going to be. Jaden Ivey does come to mind, and after Summer League, Keegan Murray has my attention as well. I also want to throw in 12th pick Jalen Williams because I really love his game, but realistically there's no comparing the role that he's going to play versus other top picks. Let me know in the comments if you agree on Paolo as the favorite, or if I have completely slept on your team's first year player. Moving on to another award pick that I don't think will be controversial, and that's my Coach of the Year pick, Ty Lue. Ty Lue was a championship-proven coach who was underrated in his first stop as a result of coaching the LeBron James team, but he has shined and silenced doubters since arriving with the Clippers. He is the man to coach the NBA's most cursed franchise in its first ever conference finals, despite losing Kawhi during the second round. The 42-40 record from last season underrates how competitive this team really could be at times last season, and that was without two of their best players for much of the year. Ty Lue found a way to make the most of who he had available night to night, and to get the team to be a top 10 defense despite missing their elite defensive wings. That performance, combined with now getting those elite all-star wings back in the fold, have elevated the Clippers to a title threat once again, and it's something I don't think should be credited solely on those stars. The Clippers have come so far since blowing a 3-1 lead in the bubble, and Lue created a legit culture shift that I think will fuel them next season. They have big names and an owner that was willing to spend to build on their depth, but Lue is still one of their most valuable assets, and I think he finally gets rewarded for that with the Coach of the Year trophy this season. Miami's Eric Spoelstra, Minnesota's Chris Finch, and New Orleans' Willie Green also come to mind, but I think Lue will be a step above with so much firepower at his disposal this season. Now, before I get into my most improved prediction, I do have a little bit of a rant about this award, because this award is hard to predict year to year. A couple seasons back, I did a video looking at historical trends in every most improved winner. For much of the history of this award, it has gone to a role player type of guy, sometimes one who makes a leap into being a solid rotation player, sometimes a bigger leap into a fringe or legit all-star. Year by year, it's very dependent on who the other competition of guys that improved are. Add to that the fact that it rarely goes to second-year players, and that eliminates an entire class of some pretty easy bets for improvement. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like there's also been a push to make this award a bigger deal than it has been. Compare the winners from the 90s to guys who have won in the 2010s and 20s. The last 6 winners of this award were players who made jumps into legit all-star or all-NBA players. And that's a high bar for predicting who's going to make that kind of leap year to year if this trend is going to continue. In summary, I do like the vagueness of this award, but everything about the way we pick the winner makes it hard to predict, at least from the start of the year until basketball gets played. I mean, OG Anunoby has been a preseason favorite for this award for what feels like forever. Anyway, if you want to hear more of my rantings about this award, you can find it in the video I released. It was done before Julius Randle won in 2021, so it's really not even that outdated statistically. But finally, moving on to my actual prediction, I'm going to go with my second Orlando Magic of the video, Wendell Carter Jr. Wendell Carter has given us flashes of really high potential from what he's shown as a passer and defensive player. Carter had career-high mid-range shooting percentages and a respectable, albeit below average percentage from 3. He has always been a good defender and one that's versatile, being one of the better bigs in the league at containing on the perimeter. There's even still room for growth defensively with his rim protection, but we might as well skip back to the offense since defensive improvement is hardly a factor in picking this award winner. Orlando has a plethora of guys that they can give opportunities to run the offense. I mean, there's going to be Paolo, Fultz, Wagner, Cole Anthony, but Wendell should get some opportunities for high-low actions and handoff plays where he can be a passing hub out of the post for the Magic. Him sustaining his improvement as a jump shooter could also be critical to winning this because that adds to the versatility. Watching him at moments for Orlando last season felt like a pat on the back for all the draft experts giving him Al Horford comps. In all honesty, my Wendell pick is partially not being able to think of other candidates. Last year was filled with plenty of worthy picks, and even in the back end of the voting, there's guys like Desmond Bane, Tyrese Maxey, Anthony Simons, and Rob Williams. The problem is now that they were all identified as guys that improved last year, I think they're less likely to be picked this season. Also worth mentioning that it could go to one of the young players Utah acquires in their rebuild because of the opportunities with a tanking team there. This pick is actually the one I hope to hear the most feedback on, so I hope to get some discussion going in the comments on who you think will be most improved. Finally, transitioning into my 6th man of the year pick with a guy who I think is the embodiment of this award, Denver's Bones Hyland. Bones is a prototypical change of pace bucket getter off the bench. With the Nuggets moving on from longtime backup guard Monte Morris, the front office has paved the way for Bones to replace Monte in that role. While Morris was more of a patient plate setter, Bones has had some flashes of playmaking, but he's a combo guard that wants to put shots up. Why it works for him has to do with his shot profile. 36% on 6 threes a game. With the level of difficulty Bones can take them off the dribble with at times, shows elite shooting touch, and when he isn't taking threes, he hardly bothers with less efficient mid-range looks. If you're not counting the floater, I guess, while you can argue that all guards need some level of an in-between game, his role is perfect for simply getting to the shots he wants. With this kind of shooting, I'm praying we get to see some hybrid bench lineups so we can play a solid chunk of minutes with Jokic and Bones. While it would be hard to be negative playing next to the MVP, Denver was plus 11 when the two were on the court, because Nico is the perfect player to enhance what Bones does well. He might have been more strongly considered for most improved if it weren't for the whole barely given to second years thing. And since last year's winner Tyler Hero may be moving into the starting role, that's one less spark plug scorer to compete with off the bench for this award. Colin Sexton also seems to be built to win this type of thing, Depending on what happens with his deal and his landing spot, the Clippers have some depth that might give them a candidate or two, but I think Busy Bones will be Sixth Man of the Year this upcoming season. But next up is my Defensive Player of the Year prediction, and that's Anthony Davis. Fully willing to admit that my Lakers bias could be in play here, but I thought AD should have won in 2020, and this is me wishfully hoping that he can get back to that kind of level. For all the talk of AD needing to play center to maximize him, those who are watching him consistently will point out it's more important to have options and versatility with him in the front court. During the 2020 season, the Lakers had the option of letting AD be the best perimeter defender when a possession dictated that he switch out there, but you get the most of him by keeping him near the rim, and ironically that's easier to do when he's at the 4 than when he's at the 5. Hear me out, because when AD plays the 5, it means that he's guarding a big man who's likely going to be setting screens. Alex Caruso and KCP have been the only good screen navigators the Lakers have had on the perimeter, so extended periods of playing center can mean AD switches and overhelps to overcompensate for poor defenders elsewhere on the court. However, when he plays the 4, the Lakers can find a non-threat to stick him on so he can have the room to roam around and help on defense more effectively. So yes, AD should be playing a lot of center, but I'm excited about the improvements to the Lakers front court with Damian Jones and Thomas Bryant, which should allow AD to play some more credible minutes at the 4. The Lakers also recently acquired Patrick Beverley in a trade, and that's a guard who does well moving through screens, giving me a lot of optimism for LA's defense when they're both on the court. There are other candidates and staples of this discussion year to year like Giannis, Embiid, Gobert, Bam Adebayo. Bam would be my next best prediction, but I am hoping Davis takes last year's criticism and his performance personal and makes even a leap in his ability this year. Last but definitely not least, we have the final award, the MVP prediction, and I am predicting that Giannis grabs his 3rd MVP. The Bucks have been a regular season win factory since Coach Budenholzer got there, and Giannis will be a perennial MVP and Defensive Player of the Year candidate for as long as he's in his prime. As long as neither of these things are changing, I don't see why I shouldn't pick Giannis as a favorite locked in for at least the next 5 years. The fan base already feels like they could be on their 2nd finals appearance at least if Middleton had been healthy, and without his 2nd guy, Giannis was superhuman against the Eastern Conference champion Celtics. His two-way play has started to become underappreciated, I feel. His ability to be elite on both ends really puts him in an exclusive tier of candidates that bring a great value on both ends. Please do not take this as a slight on Jokic, but the fact that Giannis and Embiid put up great arguments for MVP and Defensive Player of the Year makes a difference. If it wasn't for narratives about the Bucks' playoff disappointments, Giannis might have even taken Jokic's first MVP award in the 2021 season. So with all due respect to the reigning MVP, I think this is Giannis's year to keep Jokic from winning it a 3rd time, because the best player in the game talks have boiled down to Embiid, Jokic, and Giannis last year. I see them as prominent faces in this award race again, with Durant, Steph Curry, and Kawhi Leonard being guys in the mix for this as well. That's all I have for you in this one. I did want to go a little bit longer just because it's been so long since I've released the video, but these were my award predictions for the 2022-23 NBA season. Leave a comment letting me know who you think will win these awards and what you thought of my predictions. Make sure to subscribe because that helps out the channel, and leave a like on the video. You can also find me on a few social media platforms, so definitely go check that out if that's your thing. But make sure to enjoy the rest of your day.